Thank you very much. This is Newsfile. It's your most authoritative news analysis platform, and here on Newsfile we put Ghana first. And interesting discussions. Thank you all for your messages that you've been sending in. Okay, you took money, we caught you. Now you are saying you use some of the money to support opposition parties. Why are we even entertaining this? Sell all his properties and recover the money. He can go and collect his money from the so-called opposition parties later. When you collect our money, we collect our money from him. This is from Samuel Ano. Samuel, we don't do it like that too. It's a country of laws. This one says evidence, so not allegations and speculations. Carlos Vela says that the lies are not attractive. His lawyer misled him. How exactly do you mean his lawyer misled him? Masaudu Jr. says this is a clear blackmailing strategy, probably by his lawyer. I personally don't see anything national security about his memo. This even is irrelevant to what he's being charged with. Gideon Sakite says that it is absolutely hogwash. He claims the NPP was funding the NDC and other opposition. Has he mentioned NDC in that thing? Those projecting NDC, he has not said, he says opposition parties. He didn't say NDC. And other opposition parties to come remove them. Does that make sense? Of course, doesn't appear to make sense. But if there's a program that allows it, why not? Cool Jam says it doesn't matter how he disbursed the cash. The issue is how he made it. Emmanuel Mensah says he is telling lies. Just imagine this. How can you fund an opposition leader to win power and later prosecute you? Right. Interesting comments there. Thank you very much. And we need to be clear about this. And thank you, Media Foundation for West Africa, the Fourth Estate, for bringing this to my attention. Actually was in my mind, I missed to say it, that in Akufo-Addo's regime, in the first and second term, we had 27 ministers who had not declared their assets at all. So they were also found wanting in that regard. Now, let's quickly see how you manage with about 3 minutes each, gentleman and lady, about the 120-day contract. Of course, if you want to say something about the code of conduct also, you can do so. Once again, let's begin from Zoom. Vera.
Yes, Samson. Quick one on the asset declaration, and I agree with Mr. Aboagye that we need some reforms. And so for CDD, one of the things we have submitted to the Constitutional Review Committee is to look at how we are able to really use that opportunity or the platform to have some reforms in the ongoing process to review the Constitution. So it's important. And verification is also important, like he mentioned. You don't just say it, but there's also the opportunity for Auditor General to verify the information that you have submitted. And so we think that it's important that we need some reforms in the asset declaration. The 120 days,
But Vera, it's an important point, so just get a brief on it. If you say you want the Auditor General to verify, you bring the paper, they look into it and say, okay, you have written here, I have 5 houses, they are here and they are there. Okay, we have seen you really written something, and they put it down. You say you have $1 million in a bank account, or you owe somebody or some institution $1 million, that's it. Or they will go to your individual homes, go check your bank accounts for all the appointees who are supposed to declare.
So so that's why we have submitted some conversation. We have started this with the Constitutional Review. Verification is important, and you see there are also some levels. We have the government appointees, and some we have to look at how do we do this. So the conversation, how do we do it? We cannot also just say that because we said you have 1 billion in your account, we say, oh, okay, he already has a 1 billion in his account. Oh, he has 4 houses, he has 5 houses, so that is it. Or we just go and look at it. How can we verify? How do we do this? Can we have some evidence to show? Can we have some picture? Do we have some accounts to show? I think that verification is important, and we have to do it well. We need to do it. It's important. If we are looking at making sure that this is done properly and we have reforms, we should not just say because
that would be a Herculean task, right?
Democracy is that's how good governance is not just.
Okay, 120 days, please.
If we have to do it, we do it well. I think we can look at the structures and see how it's done. And if we have to even let the officers themselves, like you're saying, if you have to submit it online and show evidence directly, some of them you don't have to physically go there. If there are ways that officers can verify using their online submission and all of that, this is something we can explore. And I think the ideas are also coming up about how we can do it. And there are also best practices, something. Yeah. We are not the first country to look at this. So we look at also best practices in other countries.
120 days.
For 120 days, I think so far so good. I think that President Mahama's comeback, there were a lot of high expectations from young people, from all, about what he does. And also for me, it's quite commendable for President Mahama to say, I have a social contract with you, 120 days. These are the things I want to do. These are my commitment. Ordinary, we would have just said, 100 days. What did he do? What didn't he do? Then we'll be all over looking at all the other things happening. But he had a way to manage our own expectations elsewhere and assessment that this is what I can do. This is what I'm committed to do. So assess me based on this. And it's 120 days. We've seen I can see your screen on the charts, 52%. It means that, is that an average? If we are scoring it in a classroom, it means that at least he's done something. There's also some in progress. Some of them, I think I've heard some mention about it was just like a committee, a forum, national dialogue. I think it's something that we do not have to take for granted. And for us as CDD, we appreciate it because, you see, you have government coming into power and rushing to do things. And national consultation, public consultation, meeting all stakeholders is important for public support. You need support from all various institutions to progress with all your initiatives that you want to do. You need different interest groups to come together to say, okay, this is what is happening. How do we, the economy, what is happening? How do we go about it? Because going through the campaign, you have had all these nice ideas. I'll do this, I'll do that. But until you take office and the reality hits you, you realize that these are different things and I need to have a conversation. And so for us, it's also commendable. It might look like it was just a national forum he said you organized and has been checked down. But we have to also recognize how significant these public consultation processes are. And so that's why I thought that we missed another opportunity of having something I'm calling for, a national dialogue on youth employment. Something. We've seen a number of interventions, even from President Mahama on the things he said he would do, the National Apprenticeship Program, the Jumara, and all of that. We've seen a number of youth intervention, youth employment intervention, Youth Start, Jumara, Jumapat. A lot of them, previous governments have started something like that. We have different agencies doing something on youth employment. But we need to really pause and evaluate all these actions. All these interventions, is it really working? What has been the outcome? What has been the beneficiaries' profile so far? What is happening with them? Because we keep dedicating a lot of resources, money, time for this initiative, for youth employment. In fact, youth employment is very important. Unemployment rate is very high in the country. And so there's that. I think that's something we need to, it's not too late if the president can also look at among all the national conversations he's done, we need to, and also commending him for some, the appointments so far. We've seen a number of young people, young and
thank you.
Unfortunately, the last one is that my disappointment is with low participation of women. Unfortunately, President Mahama couldn't meet the 30%, and I think that's unacceptable. And as we go along,
is that part of the social contract for 120 days? That's a question.
It's not a part of social contract, but it's something we can't overlook.
All right, thank you. Right. So yes, Dennis, we've had people, with loads of integrity, like Professor Stephen Adair, say that we must be very careful overpraising John Mahama in 120 days, because in the first term of Akufo-Addo, I think that he performed very well, and then everybody's hopes were dashed. And I think that Akufo-Addo's government in the second term did so badly. But he made a comment. He said that if you want to be candid, John Mahama has done very well in 120 days.
I mean, I want to be candid, and I don't think he has done that much in 120 days. Samson, you don't set your own questions, set your own criteria, prepare your own marking scheme, and not make it. That, for me, is the worry. Nobody puts a gun to the NDC government to set these 25 social contracts. There's no law that says they should do it. I have seen your mark of 52. How do you set your own questions and do 52 with your own marking scheme? That is a worry. And then I also see that yourself, Imani, and a few others in your assessment, you have a segment you called ongoing. You see, there cannot be anything called ongoing in the 120-day social contract. It is either fulfilled or not fulfilled. At best, you can have partially fulfilled. That means that you have done something about it. But how did you guys introduce that ongoing thing? It is not fair to the people. You said that in 120 days, you will do A, B, C, D, specific, you logged it. Now, in 120 days, you couldn't do it. And you are helping them with ongoing. What is
you are
ongoing?
being factual.
No.
That's 55% complete.
You couldn't do it.
28% in progress and 20%
you cannot have in progress.
Not started.
You cannot have in progress. You see, in their 120-day contract, they were quite specific. What they want to launch, they say launch. What they want to commence, they said commence. If they have commenced it, it is not in progress. They have actually done it.
They're abolishing taxes.
Calm
then
down.
It comes to COVID levy.
Calm down. So it's
and they say
partially...
COVID levy is part of an IMF, condition. So there's a difficulty there. We need to do a number of
So
things.
it's not fulfilled. How do you call it in progress?
But it came with abolishing a number of taxes.
Sorry,
they have abolished.
So you call it partially fulfilled, not ongoing. Ongoing and in progress and partially fulfilled
I get where you're coming from.
are two different things.
I get where you're coming from.
It is in progress. It's different from partially fulfilled.
Okay.
So you see, partially, you have fulfilled some aspects of that promise.
All right.
But you didn't do all. Then you can give the person maybe 60 marks or 70 marks there. But if you take it out of that space and go and put it under another category called in progress, you are trying to sneak something new in there for him. They have fulfilled 11 of their 25 promises. They have partially fulfilled 2. And they have not fulfilled 12.
That's by your counting.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's not strange because you have 52%. Imani has 50%. The government itself has 72%. So we are all doing our own.
And the 52 is for 13 promises fulfilled.
Yes. So we may disagree on 2 or 3 other things you claim they fulfilled, or others you've pushed to.
And we say partially fulfilled is 7, which we say is in progress. You say the best way
you
to
don't
say
call it
partial.
in progress.
I think I agree with your term.
It's partially fulfilled. But the general summation is that you brought your own questions, brought your own marking scheme, and you failed. Now, this country in the last 120 days, in everybody's candid view, will tell you that this government has saddled us with 120 days of lamentations, complaints, excuses from day one till now. Samson, we have had 120 days of doomsday, 120 days of terminating close to 35,000 young people's employment. Within the 120 days, cement prices has gone up by 45 cities in this country. Within the 120 days, you have removed 1% e-levy, which is by choice, not all of us have to pay, and imposed 14% electricity tariff hike, which all of us have to pay. Within the last one...
Which tariff hike was to have come in?
No, it's not true. It's not true. That's another falsehood. In the IMF,
I'm sorry, but
the IMF,
sorry, we don't have time.
No,
I've got just 2 minutes to share to them.
Yes. Give me 2 seconds.
2 minutes to share to
in
them.
The IMF, no, but let me correct this one. No. The point you are making is
miracle.
In the IMF,
stop talking. No. Do the miracle.
Thank you.
In the IMF conditionality, there is nowhere in the IMF.
I'm sorry, but you can have a minute to say something about the 120-day contract.
I think the 120-day contract is fine. It should be enforced. But ultimately, institutions should be built to tackle this issue. If we know that there's the certainty of state institutions, decentralized, this is the business they do, they develop methodology, they have technology, they have people, you can't dodge, not meeting your obligations. That is what we have to build. This approach is only acceptable because the president has taken that decision and shown that it can be done. But let us now institutionalize. Let us train to the extent that you didn't do much anyway.
But he couldn't do it. We didn't set questions for ourselves.
No, okay. Samson,
Yes.
I think that this 120 days contract, social contract, the president has walked the talk. And look, I'm happy to say, for him to say that what is left is partially fulfilled.
No, two.
No, partially fulfilled. Because they assessed us on 13, and it's 25 pledges we made. 18 has been fulfilled.
No, 11.
The 18 has been fulfilled. The significant thing we can even see 120 days is that how much is the CD to dollar now?
But if CD to dollar...
No, wait. That was not even in it. CD to dollar from 17 CDs.
No.
Now,
14.7 factual, please.
14.
No, 14.
January,
yes.
From January.
Yes.
Now we have
factual.
12.7.
Even January 7 was 13.
Oh, wait. What?
Factual.
Miracle, you had the point.
No,
now we have fulfilled.
Facts.
We have the link. It's just to tell you that politics is not about dishonesty. The honesty, the integrity that the president has brought. He's nominated his people, the appointees, the leanest and most efficient
and most expensive. And most expensive. Leanest and most expensive.
No. How expensive
it is the most expensive.
We've done the economic dialogue. See, it's the national economic dialogue. The things that we propose
with the big
refused. That is what has brought us where we are now. Now we have done education. We are seeing the committee. We will see the reforms soon. Just like we've seen for the national economic dialogue. We have seen that, look, the Women Bank, money has been given for Women Bank to take off. Now we have seen the 1 million coders. And as we speak now, we have about 200,000 applications.
With 500,
now,
with 500 training, 500.
They are training.
Okay.
We have the BCE taxes. The BCE is the betting tax, the e-levy.
You don't seem to get the thing Miracle has been doing.
No.
And he has done it successfully.
We have done this. The nuisance tax that we've spoken about.
My outfit. Gentlemen, hold it. Gentlemen, hold it. Thank you. Gentlemen. Thank you. Hold it. My outfit is by Kunati Clothing. Kunati Clothing, you can call them 0244 676732. 0244 676732. Kunati Clothing. My guests have been Dr. Emmanuel Akwete, Executive Director, Institute for Democratic Governance, IDEC. Bright Simmons was on earlier. Honorary Vice President, Imani Africa. Vera Bernardo, Programs Officer, CDD Ghana. Dennis Miracles Aboagye is aide to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and Victor Kojoga Adaudu is a member of the NDC Legal and Communications team. I'm Samson Ladi Anyanini. Have a good afternoon.